Man, what a wild night for the Golden State Warriors. You know those games that leave you staring at the screen thinking, how did we lose that? Yeah, that was tonight. The Warriors went toe-to-toe with the Sacramento Kings. And even though the scoreboard didn't end in our favor, this team showed exactly why the next generation of Warriors is something special. Despite missing Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, these young guys fought like veterans out there. No excuses, no quit, just pure heart. Let's be honest, this was not an easy matchup. Sacramento might have been without some key names too, but they still came ready to scrap. And yet, Golden State held control for most of the night. There were moments when it felt like the Dubs were finally going to seal the deal. But then, the whistles started blowing and the tide shifted. 18 free throws for the Kings in the third quarter alone. That's right, 18. It felt like every possession ended with Sacramento heading to the line. The officiating? Let's just say it wasn't Golden State's friend tonight. But still, even with the odds stacked, the Warriors kept swinging. Now, the story of the night? Well, Richard. The kid just made his first career start and dropped 30 points like it was nothing. 30. That's not just a hot hand, that's a statement. He played with confidence, controlled the pace, and you could see it in his eyes. He's not here to spend time in Santa Cruz. He's here to make a name for himself in the Bay. Every shot he took felt intentional, and he was efficient, smart, and poised. It's crazy to think this guy was just assigned to the G League a few days ago. After tonight, there's no way you can keep him there. And how about Moses Moody? 28 points, steady shooting, and always composed. He started to look like the player the Warriors envisioned when they drafted him. Solid on both ends, consistent, and confident. Jonathan Kuminga added 24 and looked sharp too, attacking the rim and battling on the boards. You can see the growth in his game. He's not forcing as much, he's picking his spots, and when he goes downhill, he's tough to stop. Sure, the turnovers are still there, but that's part of the learning curve. Then there's Brandon Podziemski, better known as Pods, or AirPods if you've been keeping up with the fans. This might have been his best game of the season so far. 14 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds. 1 board, and 1 dime shy of a triple-double. That's huge for a second-year guard still carving out his role. Every time he touched the ball, he looked in control. You could tell he already knew what he was going to do before even making the move. The confidence, the court vision, it's all coming together. And that clutch 3 he hit near the end to cut the lead down, ice-cold moment. But man, it's always those last few possessions that sting. You're watching the game thinking, just one more shot, one more stop, and then it slips away. Kuminga had that look late, had the chance to attack or pull up, and you just wish he'd gone straight to the rim. Sacramento got hot at the right time, especially Dennis Schroeder, who out of nowhere turned into a flamethrower. It felt like every shot he took in crunch time went in. It wasn't 4 threes like it seemed in the moment, but even 3 clutch buckets from deep were enough to bury the Warriors. That's the kind of swing that changes everything in a close game. And speaking of swings, Al Horford had a tough one tonight. 8 or 9 rebounds, sure, but 0 for 7 from beyond the arc just hurts. Especially when you're one of the veterans on the floor. He's had good nights, no doubt, but this one wasn't it. It's not about overreacting, it's just one game. But when you sit out the first leg of a back-to-back and then can't find your rhythm on the second night, fans start to feel the frustration. He's got the experience and the leadership, but tonight, it just didn't translate. Let's not ignore the numbers, though. Sacramento shot 47% from 3. That's nearly half of their attempts going in from deep. You simply can't expect to win games when your opponent is hitting at that rate, especially when you're turning the ball over 18 times. That's the math right there. Every possession counts in the NBA, and giving the ball away nearly 20 times is basically spotting the other team free points. It's been the Achilles heel for the Warriors these past couple of seasons. Unnecessary turnovers in winnable games. It's funny, or maybe not so funny, how this feels familiar. We've seen this story before, playing well enough to win, outplaying the opponent for stretches, then losing grip in the final minutes because of little mistakes. That was the difference between the championship run in 2022 and the past couple of years. Back then, they executed in the clutch. They made the smart plays, hit the big shots, and closed teams out. Lately, it feels like they're a few plays short every time. And when you add the injuries to Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler, it gets even harder. The margin for error disappears. But even through the frustration, there's a reason to be hopeful. You look at this young core, Richard, Kuminga, Moody, and Pods, and you can't help but think the future is bright. These guys are stepping up when the veterans are out, and they're doing it with poise. It's not easy to walk into a high-pressure game like this, against a rival, and deliver. Yet they did. If the veterans can come back healthy and the young guys keep progressing at this rate, this team is going to be dangerous. Still, reality check time. The Warriors are sitting at 5-4 now, and the road ahead doesn't get any easier. The Nuggets, Thunder, and Spurs are lined up next, all within a week. That's a brutal stretch for any team, let alone one missing its top stars. This could easily turn into a 5-8 start if they don't lock in. But here's the thing. This roster was built to win. Even without their main guys, there's enough talent here to compete with anyone on any given night. The key is turning those almost games into actual wins. You can feel the weight of expectations, too. We're in the twilight years of Steph's career. Draymond isn't getting younger. Jimmy's window for another ring is closing fast. This is not a rebuild. It's a win-now team. And that's why someone like Richard becomes so important. He's the kind of player who can help bridge that gap between timelines. When he's on the floor, the offense flows, the energy rises, and the game just feels different. He's not just another rookie trying to find his place. He's already showing he belongs. And as frustrating as losses like this are, sometimes they're the ones that teach the most. You can see the pieces forming, the chemistry building. The young guys are starting to trust each other more. And even when they fall short, you can see the effort, the hunger, the fight. That's what you want to see from a team still finding its rhythm. And yeah, the officiating didn't help. Yeah, the turnovers hurt. But the heart was there, the grit was there, and the potential? It's undeniable. So as the Warriors pack up from Sacramento and prepare for another tough week, there's one clear takeaway. This team isn't done, not even close. The record might not show it yet, but if these young guns keep growing and the veterans come back strong, Golden State will find its groove again. Nights like this might sting, but they're part of the process. You see flashes of greatness, moments of brilliance that remind you why this franchise has been at the top for so long. It's a mix of frustration and optimism, of lessons learned and progress made. The kind of night that tests patience but builds belief. Because when you strip away the loss and look at the bigger picture, you see a team that's learning how to win again, piece by piece, possession by possession. And when it finally clicks, when everything falls into place, man, it's going to be special. It's crazy how one game can say so much about a team. The loss to the Kings hurt, no doubt, but it also exposed the Warriors' heartbeat in the middle of chaos. This squad, even without its main stars, still refuses to roll over. That's what stands out. You can tell these guys genuinely believe they can win, even when the odds are stacked against them. The energy, the passion, the fight, it's all still there. It just needs to translate into consistent execution. Because that's the difference right now. The effort is there, but the little mistakes are costing them big. When you go back and rewatch the game, it's not hard to find turning points. Missed layups, sloppy passes, defensive lapses that gave Sacramento second chances. And those turnovers, every single one felt like a punch to the gut. You could see Coach Kerr's frustration building with each miscue. But what do you expect from a lineup full of young players still learning the rhythm of the league? They're growing in real time, in meaningful games, under the bright lights. That kind of experience can't be replicated in practice or the G League. You have to go through it. One thing that really stood out was how composed these younger guys stayed despite the circumstances. There was no panic, no sense of defeat in their body language. Even when Sacramento went on a run, they stayed locked in. That says a lot about their mindset. Moses Moody has turned into that steady voice on the floor. He doesn't say much, but he leads with his play. You can see teammates looking to him when things get tough. And Richard, man, that guy just has it. The confidence, the body control, the decision-making, all of it screams future star. It's also interesting to see how Jonathan Kuminga continues to evolve. He's always been athletic, but now he's showing more control, more patience. Earlier in his career, he'd force shots or over-dribble to try and make a play. Now he's trusting the offense, cutting at the right times, attacking when he sees a real gap. Sure, the turnovers are still part of the story, but the improvement is clear. He's playing smarter basketball. That's the kind of growth that wins you games later in the season. Brandon Podziemski is another huge storyline. This kid has a unique basketball IQ for his age. You can see how he processes the game differently. The way he positions himself for rebounds, how he angles his passes to avoid defenders, how he reads spacing. It's all very advanced. There's a maturity in his game that fits perfectly with the Warriors system. You can tell he's studied the veterans. Watching him run the floor, you get flashes of Draymond's vision and Andre Iguodala's calm. That's not something you teach easily. The challenge now for the Warriors is turning potential into production. The young core has proven they can hang, but consistency is everything in this league. Winning one night means nothing if you don't build on it the next. That's where the veterans will come in once they're healthy again. Steph, Draymond, Jimmy, those guys bring stability. They know how to close games, how to handle momentum swings, how to manage emotions when the whistle doesn't go your way. The younger players are still learning that part. And speaking of emotions, it's impossible not to mention how much this rivalry with Sacramento has grown. It's not just another regular season matchup anymore. There's tension, pride, and genuine animosity. The Kings play like they have something to prove every time they see Golden State. And honestly, they probably do. The Warriors have been a standard for a decade, and every young Western Conference team is trying to measure themselves against that. When the Warriors and Kings play, it feels personal. Every possession has weight. You can see in the crowd, in the body language of the players, in the way both teams celebrate big plays. Still, for all the frustration, you can't help but respect how the Warriors keep finding ways to stay competitive. They've been dealing with injuries, lineup changes, and tough schedules, but the identity hasn't changed. They move the ball, they cut, they defend, they trust their system. Even when the shots don't fall, the style of play remains the same. That's the sign of a strong foundation. Looking ahead, the upcoming schedule doesn't offer much breathing room. The Nuggets, Thunder, and Spurs, all young, hungry, and ready to run. Denver will test their discipline. Oklahoma City will test their defense. San Antonio, with Wembanyama, will test their interior strength. This next stretch could define the early part of the season. It's a chance for the Warriors to either stabilize or slip further behind in the standings. And with the West as competitive as it is, every single win matters. The pressure is definitely on Steve Kerr and the leaders in that locker room. You can feel the urgency now. This isn't about waiting for things to click anymore. It's about finding ways to make them click right now. The veterans have to lead, but the young guys can't just follow. They have to take ownership. Nights like the one against the Kings show what they're capable of. The next step is learning how to finish those games. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Kevin Durant has reportedly sent shockwaves through the NBA world, igniting a frenzy of speculation and excitement among fans and analysts alike. According to sources close to the league, the superstar forward is on the verge of a sensational return to the Golden State Warriors, reportedly agreeing to a staggering 3-year contract that could redefine the landscape of the NBA once more. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders suggest that Durant's decision could mark one of the most dramatic reunions in recent basketball history. The whispers began late last week, with murmurs emerging from the Bay Area that Durant had been in discreet discussions with Warriors management. The 10-time All-Star, who has already left an indelible mark on the franchise during his first stint, appears poised to don the blue and gold once again. Sources hint that both Durant and the Warriors see this as a mutually beneficial move. The team gains an elite scorer and veteran leadership, while Durant secures a championship-caliber environment to chase another ring. Speculation is already running wild about how this potential signing would impact the league's balance of power. Warriors fans are reportedly ecstatic at the mere possibility, while rival teams are bracing for what could be a seismic shift in playoff dynamics. Analysts suggest that Durant's arrival could reshape the Warriors' offense, reigniting the potent combination of sharpshooting, versatile scoring, and championship pedigree that dominated the NBA in previous seasons. Yet, amid the excitement, questions abound. Can Durant seamlessly reintegrate into a system that has evolved in his absence? How will this affect the team's young core and salary cap flexibility? While the answers remain uncertain, the buzz around Durant's rumored return is undeniable. Social media platforms are already flooded with speculation, memes, and debates, underscoring the fervor that a single player can generate. Whether this blockbuster reunion becomes reality or remains in the realm of rumor, one thing is clear. Kevin Durant's name alone is enough to electrify the basketball world. As the NBA landscape prepares for another season of drama and intensity, fans everywhere are holding their breath, waiting to see if Durant will indeed lace up once more for the Warriors, and if history is about to repeat itself in the most spectacular way possible. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.